Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Our Issues Birmingham. Today's guest is Darrell O'Quinn, our Birmingham City Councilman. I forget exactly what the district number is, but I'm sure you're District 5 with the Birmingham City Council. How you doing, Darrell?
I'm doing great.
Your second time on our show, I do believe, but your first trip to our new and improved studio, so welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about how you came to want to be involved and got involved in city politics, and what do you do other than be a city council person?
So I came to Birmingham in the year 2000 after graduating from veterinary school at LSU School of Veterinary Medicine. UAB had a comparative medicine department at the time, and they offered a specialty training program for veterinarian scientists. So that's initially why I came to Birmingham, was to get training in laboratory animal medicine. I ended up graduating with my PhD in pathology in 2005 and stayed on at UAB for many years after that, up until 2018. But along the way, I got involved in my community, and such is the case when you start volunteering for stuff. You
get elected.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you show up and just keep showing up, and eventually you get elected. So I had about a 10-year span before I ran for city council in 2017. Over that 10-year span, I was a neighborhood officer, a community president, and eventually was elected to represent all 99 neighborhoods on the Citizens Advisory Board.
And your district is, District 5 is Crestwood, right? And
it includes Crestwood.
But it's recently expanded.
Yes, so it is a very long, skinny district and spans the floor of Jones Valley from Smithfield to almost Roebuck. So I've got Center Street on one end of the district and the Krispy Kreme on First Avenue North on the other end of the district.
And all parts in between.
Yeah, that's right.
Does that include the City Walk?
It does include City Walk.
Well, we've had, I think, the marketing director of City Walk on our show, and it's certainly a great addition to what we have going on around Protective Stadium. Are you finding it to be everything you had hoped it to be?
It actually came out a lot better than I had anticipated. So as part of the lead up to me running for city council, I was involved with a group called Move 2059 that was advocating for ALDOT to consider other alternatives to simply rebuilding the bridges through downtown Birmingham. And this project, City Walk, was really created out of response to that effort as a way to reunite the north and south sides of downtown Birmingham that were really divided by the interstate highway. So City Walk, long story short, City Walk is phenomenal, and everyone I think needs to realize that it's a project of international significance. There are parks underneath highways in various places around the world, but none at this scale. And so it's really something that certainly folks in the Birmingham metro area should be proud of, but also folks in Alabama and elsewhere should really recognize.
I don't think I expected to see what I saw one night. I was in the downtown area, and I had some guests in from out of town, and I was showing them different parts of the city. And it was late, late for me, 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I drove through the City Walk and near Protective Stadium and was surprised at the number of people that were out there engaged in either the playgrounds, the pickleball courts, there are stages underneath there. So don't be afraid, is what I'm saying, people are afraid to go downtown. Don't be afraid. There's a lot of activity downtown these days.
Right.
That's just one of it. Do you think that what's going on with City Walk and obviously the protective stadium will enhance what's coming with the Caraway project, for example? That's my word.
Yeah, I don't think that the Caraway project happens without the investments made at the convention center. I just think that that provided, additional argument for redeveloping the Caraway site. And so with the possibility of having a Live Nation amphitheater there as well, that just the whole complex now creates a very close space with multiple entertainment venues available for different types of events.
There was, I had Robert Simon on as a guest, who's one of the primary developers from a commercial standpoint of that area. He likened it to what happened in the Parkside district. The park came first, and then the ballpark came, and then all of a sudden there's this burst of residential and retail community around those two anchor spots. Is that sort of the anticipation of what's going to happen with the amphitheater?
Absolutely. I think that, again, the stadium was something that was long sought after, and, full disclosure, I voted against the city funding.
All right, we're going to take a break right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't because I didn't think that, it was a viable concept. It was just more about how the proposal came before us. So, but, it's clear that it's providing a benefit to the city, and that if you add up Caraway, Southtown, and some of the other projects in the immediate vicinity, you easily get to well in excess of $1 billion of commercial and real estate development.
Well, we'll talk more about that when we come back from break, so stick with me. Don't go away. This is Our Issues Birmingham. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. We're speaking with Darrell O'Quinn. He is District 5 Birmingham City Councilman, and although he represents a certain district, he represents the citizens of Birmingham in general. So you mentioned the expenditures involved. I had Mayor Woodfin on a few months ago maybe, and was shocked to learn that we had some $81 million budget surplus.
Mm-hmm.
How'd that happen?
Coronavirus.
Well, does that mean funds came from the federal government, or does that mean everybody stayed home and nobody spent money during that?
So we furloughed a lot of employees. At the time, our finance director came to us and was projecting a $60 million deficit. So we immediately took steps to try and account for that. And so there was a lot of expenditures that, may have been planned that came to a standstill. So that certainly contributed to that $80 million surplus. Some of that surplus is also built into the fact that we have many positions that are budgeted for, but are not filled, and that's been the case for quite a while. That's been a significant contributing factor to the year after year revenue surpluses. The city, that being said, the city is growing. Our property values are increasing, so some of our, property tax revenue has been increasing. The fact that the state put in the capacity to collect sales tax on internet purchases has been a big deal for us. We're getting quite a bit of revenue from that. There were some increases in permitting fees and other things. That it's been a number of different contributing factors, but if I had to point to one thing that was a major contributor to that $80 million surplus was because of the pandemic, we pulled back on spending. So when we did the audit for that time period, it revealed that, we had that sort of surplus.
So even though we have positions that are not filled, we're not lacking in our ability to provide services to the citizens.
I would say that in most areas that we're doing okay. The one area that I'm really concerned about is within our police department. Across the nation, cities are having a real challenge in recruiting and retaining police officers. So that's, I would say, if not the number one concern, a top priority for the mayor and the council to address, the having adequate police force.
You're not suggesting that it's because of a lack of pay. It's more because there are not people that want that job, is what I'm hearing you say. At least that's what I'm thinking you're saying.
It's a number of factors. We have significantly increased compensation. So for our public safety employees, over just the past year, we did a 15% cost of living increase. So that's helping. There is one of the major factors is that there is just not an attractive job, because perception of police officers has changed quite dramatically within society. But there are a variety of things that contribute to that. Birmingham has the highest call volume out of any municipality in the state for sure, and it's orders of magnitude higher than any of the surrounding municipalities. So it's a lot easier to be a police officer, in Pelham than it is to be in the city of Birmingham. If you're a police officer in the city of Birmingham, when you go on shift, you're going to be responding to calls from the time that you get in your patrol vehicle until the time you hand it over to the next person.
Yeah, everyone's concerned about gun violence. And I know there are programs in place because we've interviewed the people that are trying to operate those programs, the Restore program, Family Court, trying to reach into the community to assist in conflict resolution. Many of these crimes that we read about, first of all, occur within a very small segment of our population, and two, they occur within the home, which is very difficult to police what's going on inside the household. But we'll talk more about that and some other things when we come back from break. So this is Our Issues Birmingham. Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. We're talking with Darrell O'Quinn, Birmingham City Councilman. Transportation. I understand transportation is one area that you are over in the city of Birmingham, and historically, Birmingham has struggled with transportation, public transportation I'm speaking of. We started this show in 2013, and we only had yellow cab and maybe some other cab. You know, I don't know what color it was, but it was, I always felt like I needed a shower after I got out of it, whatever it was. But, and Uber was a big thing, and nobody wanted to do Uber, and I was pitching Uber and trying to get Birmingham to go Uber. And finally we went Uber. And now we have some changes being made in our public transportation aside from private transportation. Mm-hmm. Can you brief us on what's going on with that?
Yeah, so it's actually a really exciting time in transportation in general. There's been new technologies that have been introduced over the past several years that are sort of revolutionizing how we get around. So for me, it's all about mobility. So if it's got wheels and it moves people, it's something that I'm interested in seeing having a presence in the city of Birmingham. So I was very involved in the state legislation that allowed for the e-scooters to be able to operate, and then in the city legislation that allowed for that to happen too. But I have also...
They scare me a little bit.
Yeah, and they're not, a panacea. There are pros and cons, for sure.
And I have a Vespa, and it scares me.
Yeah.
But, afraid I'll get run over.
Yeah, for a long time, we had the mindset that, the only mobility option in the city was to own your own vehicle, and we don't want to, or the current leadership doesn't want our city to be one that's car dependent. Part of that is working very closely with the BJCTA to really transform what our public transportation system looks like. For a long time, we've only had one model, a one-size-fits-all model with fixed route buses. And back in 2019, the city partnered with a company called VIA to introduce on-demand microtransit, which is a publicly subsidized version of Uber and Lyft, where within a specific area, you can request a ride and get a ride in that area for $1.50, same price as bus fare. This equivalent cost of an Uber or a Lyft would be, $10, $12, $15.
Well, tell the viewers how they would go about doing that if they wanted to avail themselves.
Yeah, so the easiest way to do it is to download the VIA app in Google Play or App Store. And it should automatically bring you to the, Birmingham location, show you the two zones that we have. One is city center and the west part of the western area. And then there's another zone in the Woodlawn, Roebuck, Eastlake, Huffman area, our east zone. But again, if you're in those two areas, for $1.50, you can have a vehicle show up to the nearest corner. If you have somebody traveling with you, they pay half price. And
is it a little mini bus or a vehicle?
It's a van. It's
a van.
Like a minivan. Yeah.
And so, for example, my office is in the city of Birmingham. If I wanted a ride to the courthouse, can I avail myself to that?
Absolutely. It's available to anyone, whether you live in the city or not. You just have to be in the service area.
And how are we getting the word out to the citizens, and how is it being received by the citizens? Are we getting customers?
Yes, it's been very popular, especially amongst our seniors. who in the city center service area, Publix is the public supermarket is the primary or the most frequent destination. So a lot of our seniors are using it to go grocery shopping rather than driving themselves. So it's been very well received. It's a lot more convenient than a lot of our fixed route bus lines where it may take you hours
But
to
we're
make a round trip.
But still within the city limits of the city of Birmingham.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So in the western area, you can go from the courthouse to the Crossplex using the Birmingham on-demand service, and it costs you $1.50. In the eastern area, you can go from Woodlawn to the Walmart on the Parkway for $1.50. And usually after you request a ride, the van will show up within 15 minutes, bring you directly to your destination. It's just like an Uber, but a lot cheaper.
Well, that's something I certainly didn't know about, and I suspect a lot of people watching didn't know about either. But thanks for being with us today. It's been quite informative. I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
This is Our Issues Birmingham. We'll see you next week.
I am blind, but I need not see. I know this road is there for me.
I think it's just vapor and flavors. It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
When I first saw Turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We had this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
We discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure
Pure
love.
love.